Well, it may not be the most flattering of angles, but it's actually that hole that one could argue is the most important part of this entire Hurricane Hunter aircraft, because it's what comes out of that compartment that we get all the data that we can find on hurricanes. It's not very big. So do the taller members of your crew like get claustrophobic? But it's got a very big job.
We pack a lot of science in here.
Welcome on board the Gulfstream High Altitude Hurricane Research Plane, a craft dubbed Gonzo on account of its modified nose. And though you may be more familiar with the big low altitude planes collecting data close to the surface, Gonzo gives us info when space engineer Nick Underwood launches tools called dropsondes from 45,000 feet up.
On a single flight, we'll drop between 20 and 30 of these, just sampling as much of the atmosphere as we can.
Falling 50 feet per second, it takes just 15 minutes for each one to hit the surface. That provides plane engineers and meteorologists with vital data about the intensity of an incoming storm. Unique to the mission, though, of this plane is scouting the atmosphere ahead of a system.
We'll go and travel out into the Gulf of Mexico when the storm is actually still in the Atlantic, just to see what the weather is doing out ahead of the storm that's going to affect it, say, in 2 or 3 days.
That helps to decipher whether a storm could make a sudden move off its current course, a point all of us in Southwest Florida will be watching closely this hurricane season.
At what times, Rob, are those high tides?
Yeah, if you live along the beach or within a few miles of the beach, you want to make sure you're paying very close attention to what the high tide time cycles are over the next 2 days. Because according to the National Hurricane Center and the National Weather Service, high tide cycles here in Southwest Florida between Tuesday night and through Wednesday could be up to 2 feet above normal high tide cycles. The reason, of course, is Hurricane Michael, because on Wednesday, the hurricane will essentially find itself parallel to the coast of Southwest Florida. As the air starts wrapping around it, we'll have a very pronounced south and southwest onshore wind, which can help to push the water, which is already high during normal high tide cycles, to be a little bit higher. You're taking a live look right now at San Carlos Bay, and the period of high tide I'm most concerned about right now comes about to 2:30 in the afternoon on Wednesday. The reason that one's most concerning right now is because for the time leading up to that high tide cycle, we'll have an onshore wind for a number of hours, and throughout the entire high tide cycle, the winds will remain onshore. So if we're having any coastal areas of flooding in Collier, Lee, or Charlotte counties, it's more than likely going to happen during that wind span on Wednesday when the winds are strongest in the south and the southwest direction here into Southwest Florida. Reporting live on Bunch Beach, send it back to you, Allison, now in the studio. If you live alongside the water, there's a good chance you're still licking your wounds this summer. Seawall damage in cities like Cape Coral after Hurricane Irma was extensive, and for many of us, it's a problem that still isn't fixed. As rainy season brings a daily deluge to Southwest Florida, each day that goes by is like tempting fate.
We're racing against the clock with this rain because with each rainy day, it sets us back. We have erosion.
A seawall is a hard engineering shore-based structure protecting the coast from erosion. With every rainfall, water hits the ground behind a broken seawall, weakening it. You can't not get it fixed because that seawall is what's keeping your lawn and pool from becoming part of the canal. After Irma, damage was extensive, meaning there's still a lengthy backlog.
It goes all the way to January 2019.
The sandy soil will erode.
I asked Jeff Hooker of Hooker Marine Construction if there's anything you can do as a temporary fix, a band-aid if you will, to hold your wall until workers can fix it. Tell me about this seawall here. This was damaged during Hurricane Irma. What's the temporary fix right now?
Right now we got the pilings all set here in front of the wall to keep the wall from moving. Last year, after the water left, it took the walls with it. This wall here was able to be saved in the short term. The wall down there is probably going to need to be replaced.
This wall took a real beating during Hurricane Irma. What's its status?
It's a temporary fix at this point, so there's no fixing this. This has to be replaced.
And if your seawall wasn't damaged by Irma, you're going to want to keep it that way. Construction experts say your wall should be inspected every couple of years. And here's a tip: don't wait on small repairs. That can save you from major damage during intense Southwest Florida weather.